muted. Is it all right if I go ahead and unmute? Okay, just so if anyone has any needs or questions, I can make sure that I hear you. Otherwise, I won't be able to hear you at all, and I would hate for that to happen. So I'm gonna screen share on here my PowerPoint for today. I'm going to be presenting on caregiving through times of distress, or caregiving through uncertainty. And this year of our lives has been nothing but uncertainty. So hopefully this will be a timely topic for everyone. Oops, share screen. Show all windows. Give me just a second, guys. Okay, there we go. I found my PowerPoint, and let me make this big for everyone. All right, there we go. Today is about caregiving through uncertainty, and this is me, Kimberly Valdez. Can y'all hear an echo? You got it fixed? Okay, perfect. I certainly don't want there to be an echo for everyone. That would drive me absolutely crazy on the other side of this. So as we get started, a little bit about me. My name is Kimberly Valdez. I'm a therapist in private practice in the Clear Lake Friendswood area. To be extra specific, I office right in front of Baybrook Mall. I've worked in grief and bereavement, hospice, primary care for children and adults to help patients and caregivers understand the impact of their diagnosis, whether that be chronic illness, dementia, cancer, and how to manage the changes that it brings, not just to their medical care, but also to their relationships and their day-to-day life. Now in private practice, I continue to assist caregivers and their loved ones in understanding how to navigate the new dynamics of their relationships and how to find a rhythm that works. So from husband and wife to caregiver and patient, from mother and daughter to caregiver and patient. So many of those dynamics bring a lot of stress and frustration just figuring that out, on top of the million appointments that you have, on top of trying to stay safe during COVID times, on top of work and life and all of the other obligations that you have. And then I also have the privilege of teaching graduate students at Baylor University how to provide quality care to the patients and families that they work with. So a little bit about me so you know where I'm coming from today. Earlier on in my career, I used to have to promise people that I wasn't 12 years old. I think I've gotten past that point, but to be able to to let y'all know that I have been doing this for a while, and that I would love to be able, as we go through our presentation today, if you want to raise your hand on the Zoom function, or even just unmute yourself and say, hey, Kimberly, I have a question about this, then we can have a conversation through this and be able to talk about what is going to work best for you and your life. So the picture on the left side of your screen today that you'll see is actually from a nature retreat that I had the opportunity to do, where they have a nature trail called Peaceful Path. And that made me think about how, especially when you're caregiving, and especially in this year of COVID, how on earth do we have a peaceful path through any of that when we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone a month from now, when this morning could be smooth and great and fantastic, and this afternoon can be full of road bumps and treacherous terrain, and having to navigate that whenever this morning felt like it was just easy going. So I want us to think about today, when the road is uncertain, how do we bring peace back to our path? Our road might still be bumpy, our road might be uncertain, but what can we do to prepare ourselves for that journey? What can we do to be able to help ourselves have some reprieve and some peace as we are going through this process? So today we'll discuss how we respond in times of stress, how we manage stress more effectively, the importance of self-care, and how to set realistic expectations for ourselves. You know, sometimes I'll say, okay, well, I need to take better care of myself. So I'm going to work out 5 times a week. I'm going to eat fantastically. I'm going to have a day to myself. I'm going to go get to sleep by 9:30 every night. And whenever I set all of those things, they don't happen, because then I've had this goal for myself that's completely unattainable. But when I start with, okay, today I am going to take 5-minute breaks every hour. I am going to have my water bottle next to me and I'm going to fill it up twice. And that's all of my goals for today. And if that's all I get accomplished, then that is me moving towards this goal of being able to take care of myself throughout the day, throughout the week, so that I can have more reprieve. So we'll get into that a little bit more later about what that might look like for you to be able to set a plan for taking care of yourself. I know Andrea earlier was talking about setting a plan for end of life, for your care through the rest of your life. And this is about setting a plan for yourself and your care right now. Okay, so I loved this visual because whenever I think about caregiving, especially during times of distress, during uncertainty, and especially during COVID, I think about the millions of questions that are swirling through my head and the million different things that I'm juggling at different times. So what if this happens? Is it safe? How safe is it? If I get vaccinated, am I going to be able to go places? Will that be safe for the person I'm taking care of? Should I take them to go get vaccinated? Am I making the right choice? Even saying all of this right now, I can feel my blood pressure rising a little bit. I can start to feel my head feeling fuller and more fuzzy. And so as these questions are going through your head, we have to find a way to be able to decrease the volume. I know maybe even just by a show of hands or by unmuting yourself, how familiar do these thoughts look to y'all? Yes, very, very familiar. And so what do we do about that? How do I possibly get all of these thoughts to slow down a little bit? And why is that important? So one of the ways that we can tend to get those thoughts out of our head is by some unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? And so I think, all right, I need to take a break. I'm going to watch a 30-minute TV show. And then that 30-minute TV show turns into endless hours of watching TV. Or I need a break from talking to people. So I'm going to not respond to text today, but then that turns into not answering the phone or responding to text messages for a week or 2 weeks. I'm going to go have coffee with a friend. Oh, that felt good. Let me schedule to make coffee with a friend every single day. And then we're adding more stress onto what's supposed to be relieving. Sleeping too much, having a few too many drinks of alcohol, getting really testy and lashing out at others because you haven't been able to have any kind of relief, taking up smoking or smoking more than usual because you just need that 5 minutes to be able to rest. So what do we do instead? The first thing that I want you to think about doing, and I'm going to take a sip of my water to take care of myself right now, is assess your stress. So on this continuum, being able to look at, we have a new person. I'm going to click admit if that's okay. I'm just taking charge over here, doing one. Okay, good. I'm unmuted again. So, so from I'm feeling good to I am done. This is too much, and I cannot stand this for a second longer. In between there, we have some indicators and some warning signs that I'm starting to not be okay. Okay, I'm really starting to not be okay. I need a break or I'm going to lose it before we get to, I've lost it. I'm done. I want to walk out of this house and never come back again. Which, yes, we all get to those moments where it's, I can't stand this a second longer. And so I want you to take a second to think about where you are on the stress continuum today. So if you're feeling good, be able to check in with yourself right now and say, okay, I'm feeling good. And I can tell that because I am able to pay attention to this presentation right now. I have my water or my coffee or my tea next to me and I can take a sip of it and that feels relieving. I know that my loved ones are taken care of while I'm listening in on this, and my body feels relatively relaxed. On the next line, I have a few things on my mind, but it's manageable. Maybe you're thinking, okay, come on, let's get through this presentation. I want the tools so that I can do this and I can get things done. But you're still able to pay attention. You're still able to be present. In the middle category, I have a lot on my mind and I'm starting to struggle with it. Maybe you're wiggling in your chair, you're getting up and down, you're starting to feel some stress in your shoulders. You're maybe making a to-do list on the side of all of the things that you're going to get done whenever we finish our presentation today. And you're starting to feel a little uncomfortable in your body. You're maybe worrying about your family member and what's going on with them to the point where it's difficult to focus. That little orange line, I'm really struggling. If something doesn't change soon, I am going to lose it. So this is one of those times of, I'm about to turn this off. I'm about to turn this off and we're just going to be done because I need to go take care of something. I need, my phone won't stop ringing because something is going on with my loved one. And I am so mad because I was supposed to have this break time. This was supposed to be for me to be able to set this time aside and take care of myself. And now this darn phone won't stop ringing. And I want to throw it out the window, but I'm still trying to pay attention and trying to hold on. And then the pink one, you've probably already exited out of this chat. You're done. You need to go lay down and take a nap right now because just nothing feels like it's working. So think for a second about where you are right now, from I'm feeling good to I am actually done. I'm logging out now, guys. So part of that is listening to your body. And I love this visual that you see on your screen because they've done research studies on where people experience emotions in their bodies and have done scans to be able to see the different areas of the body that light up whenever or cool down whenever people are experiencing certain emotions. And so, for example, anger. We tend to feel anger much more in the upper parts of our bodies and then in our feet. So anger tends to be, my head is exploding, my tension is really building in my chest and in my arms and my hands. I need to do something with them. I'm clenching my fist. I'm struggling with this. My heart, my chest might be getting tighter. My heart is beating faster. My feet are lighting up and I want to run. I want to get away from this place because I am angry. On the opposite side of that, happiness lights up our whole body. So it's not that happiness is the opposite of anger and we're just, our whole body's relaxed and good, but with happiness, we're able to feel from our head to our toes, this feeling of pleasantness, of joy, of, oh, I can feel this looseness in my muscles. I can feel this clarity in my head. It's not just the absence of something, but it's feeling this good feeling all over your body. So let's think about that with stress. Take a second, close your eyes. You don't have to be looking at the screen. No one is looking at you. Yellow might be looking at me, but that's okay. And I want you to do a scan of your body from head to toe. Notice where in your body you're holding tension, where you're feeling tightness or heat. Notice where you're feeling heaviness. Does your whole body just feel heavy and down? Does your body feel tense and anxious? Does your body feel relaxed and at ease? Take a moment to just breathe and check in with your body and how it's feeling right now in this moment. Breathe in and let yourself feel that. Let yourself acknowledge whether you feel fear or sadness, shame, envy, or happiness and love. Take a second to feel that emotion and know, whichever end of the spectrum you're on right now, that that is okay for you to be there. When we're able to check in with our bodies, we are able to do something about it. And so if I'm starting to feel this sense of anxiety and I'm just trying to push it away, okay, let me change focus, let me do something else. Sometimes that anxiety goes away, but sometimes it just builds. And if that anxiety continues to build and build and build, then we're going to be at that reddish pink end of I'm done. Versus being able to notice that anxiety building, maybe whenever you're in the middle of I'm struggling, stopping, allowing yourself to acknowledge that, take a break, take care of yourself so that we can get back to the yellow and the green zone of, you know what, I can handle this. I'm experiencing some stress, but I can also be okay. I can have a little bit of anxiety, deal with it, and be okay. So some of the ways to be able to do that, you're probably thinking right now, well, that's great and all, but I've been dealing with this for a long time, and I can't just change my brain to say, okay, anxiety, cool, let me feel it. Now I'm fine. I'm going to move on and go get all of the groceries that I need from H-E-B. It doesn't quite work like that. We have to figure out, one, what works best for us, and then two, what different things might be on our list to try to be able to allow us to feel our emotions and then to come down from those emotions. So I want to walk through a couple examples of that with you all today. The three that I have on the screen here are belly breathing, guided visualization, and progressive muscle relaxation. I'm definitely going to walk you through belly breathing and visualization today. And depending on how much time, we might come back at the end to progressive muscle relaxation and talk about some tools that you can use to be able to use these methods on your own too. Has anyone, I'm going to bring your pictures up on my screen so that I can actually see you. Has anyone ever heard of any of these, tried any of these methods before? Hands? No. If it's a no, you can just leave your screen blank. That's totally okay. I see a thumbs up over there. Great. Okay. So the first one, belly breathing. I know everyone has been told, well, when you're struggling, just take a deep breath. And you've probably tried that and found maybe sometimes it's helpful and other times, oh, take a deep breath. You think taking a deep breath is going to take away everything I have to deal with? You're crazy, lady. What are you talking about? And so, one, I want to clarify what we're talking about when we say belly breathing and how that can be different from just taking a deep breath. So I'm going to back up a little. I'm going to make my screen go lower so that you can see my body as I do this. Oh no. Okay, we're really going to have to go lower because I'm going to show you. Now my head is gone. We'll figure it out one day. Okay, I think I've got it. I think I'm back far enough to be able to do this. So whenever I say belly breathing, if you've ever been in choir or band when you were younger, you might have heard of breathing from your diaphragm. And so your diaphragm is right here, right below where your rib cage and your lungs meet. And we have this piece right here that we really want to be able to use to get good breath into our body. So I like to think about that diaphragm as a balloon. Whenever I'm taking a deep breath in, I'm expanding that balloon. Whenever I breathe out, I'm letting the air out of that balloon. And so to do that, I have to use my stomach as a guide, or use my belly as a guide. So I'll show you. Whenever I take a deep breath in, my stomach goes out. Whenever I exhale, my stomach goes back in. If you've ever had children, which I had 3 kids in about 4 years, so the second that I do this, I immediately look pregnant again, then that's how you know you're doing it right. If you if you look pregnant again, you're doing it right, guys, okay? So if you take a deep breath in, your belly expands, exhale, it contracts again. It feels a little backwards to how I used to think that deep breathing goes of, well, I breathe and I got to let my whole chest come up. I've got to fill this and my stomach is probably going to go in. And then I exhale and my stomach goes out, my whole body relaxes. Well, when we do that, we're getting an insufficient breath. And when we get an insufficient breath, then to me, at least, it feels like it's sticking in my chest. And when my breath sticks in my chest, I feel more anxiety and I feel worse. And so that's not helping achieve the goal that I want. And so instead of sticking in my chest, I want to lower it down into my belly and really just focus on expanding the balloon, deflating the balloon. I'm not thinking about my chest at all. I am only thinking about my belly, of slowly breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So I want you all, with your screen off or on, to practice this with me for just 3 times. We're going to practice it, see how it feels. And then I want you to scan your body again and notice if any of that tension that you found earlier has now started to dissipate, started to go away a little bit. So shake your body out for a second so that we don't get our breaths all off. And I want you to take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. One more time, breathe in. Exhale. Now, as you continue to just breathe normally, I want you to scan your body and notice, was anything able to be released? Does anything feel different than it did before? And if it does, pat yourself on the back. This is something that is helpful to you. If it didn't, well, then we keep trying and seeing what works for you. Does anyone have any questions about belly breathing? Raise your virtual hand or your actual hand. Okay, Nancy has a question in here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So was everyone able to hear, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting your name again. Darian. Was everyone able to hear Darian and Nancy talking about Eleanor?
No, I didn't hear.
Okay, so part of what Nancy was saying is that she doesn't have any questions about it, but she noticed when she did that, she feels like she's been breathing wrong her whole life. Oh, whenever I breathe, I'm used to kind of sucking everything in, and that felt so different. And then Darian also mentioned that she realized she's used to breathing in through her chest, and trying it a little bit differently this time, she noticed it was more helpful than whenever she does take deep breaths from her chest. Does that sound about right, Darian? Yep. Okay. Anyone else notice anything or have any questions about that? Okay. Well, so the next thing that I want to show you is guided visualization. Can I get a time check? Okay, we have plenty of time to be able to do this. Now, I'm going to set you up with this one to let you know if you're feeling sleepy. This is probably going to make you feel more sleepy. My hope is that it makes you feel more relaxed and then able to really hear the rest of the presentation too. The first time that you do a guided visualization, it can be a little anxiety provoking because you weren't sure how long it's going to be, when I'm going to pause, how to do it correctly. And so you might notice one of those two responses, to feel a little more anxious and unsure, or to feel relaxed to the point where it's making you sleepy. So I'm going to walk us through a guided visualization today. I'm going to switch it out on the screen right here, and y'all will be able to see it along with me. There is a guided visualization that is free from the VA that you can access online anytime. And then there's plenty that are on different applications you can download to an iPad or to a phone. You can find them on YouTube. But this one today is one I've been using for a long time that I find especially helpful to me. And the more times that I do this for myself, the more developed this visualization gets for me. So let me change what I'm sharing. Share. Okay. And I'm going to make y'all small again. So if somebody needs something, I'm not going to be able to see you right now. So visualization, guided imagery, you can go on here yourself to be able to read more about how guided imagery works. But for today, I want to go through this exercise all together. I'm going to be reading this. You are going to be relaxing in your chair. You can keep your eyes open or you can close them. I find it works best if you do close your eyes. Allow yourself to be comfortable. This is going to take between 5 and 10 minutes. There are going to be times during this visualization when I pause so that you can allow your mind to be present in whatever image I'm bringing up. Now, at the end, I will say, and I'll scroll down so that y'all can see this. I will say you are now ready to resume your day, stretch gently, open your eyes, feeling refreshed and alert. So that's your cue. That's when you know this thing is actually over. Before I say that, know if I'm pausing or just continuing through. Okay. So stretch yourself out, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths if you need to, just get relaxed and comfortable in your car, on your couch, in your chair, wherever you are right now. Begin with a few slow, deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, letting your whole body get relaxed. Let the chair fully support your body as you continue to breathe and relax. Now, use your imagination to picture yourself walking slowly along a path. It's a pleasant path, any kind that you wish, and it's a beautiful day. You feel relaxed and happy. You can feel the warmth and energy of the sunlight on your skin. Soon you come to a gate. You know that this gate leads to a special place where you will feel welcomed, safe, and comfortable. Push the gate open and allow yourself to enter your very own private garden. Your garden is filled with your favorite things. Whatever is pleasing to you can be found in this place. Perhaps there are flowers, trees, animals, birds, water, or even music. Look around and just notice what is in your garden. Take a moment to dive in deeper and see all of the colors and objects that are in this place. Notice how beautiful they are. Look at the various shapes and see how varied they are. Look at the ground, look at the sky, and see where they meet. Your garden is calm and tranquil, and everything peacefully coexists in this place. As you are looking, become aware of how things might feel in this private place of yours. We're beginning to use all of your senses to explore this garden as you explore this place with your sense of touch. Perhaps some things are soft and warm, and others are smooth and cool. Simply spend time exploring using your sense of touch as you continue to feel at peace and comfortable. Notice what the air feels like. Is it cool or warm? Is there a breeze or is it still? Take the time to feel the peace and serenity in this place. As you continue to explore your garden by seeing and feeling, become aware of the sounds that you hear. The sounds in your garden are pleasing to the ear and very comforting. Perhaps it is quiet, or maybe there are a number of sounds. Some sounds may be very soft, while others may be louder. Relax and listen for a while and see if you can identify the different sounds in your garden. As you're listening to the sounds in your garden, become aware of what smells you might smell. Take a deep breath in and notice the fragrances that are present. Some of them may be familiar, while others may be unfamiliar. The fragrances are pleasant and soothing. Take your time and enjoy your visit to the garden, using it in whatever way that you wish, spending the time that you need to rejuvenate and to care for yourself. Breathing and noticing your garden, looking around using all 5 of your senses to take in this place that you've created. When you are ready to leave, slowly walk back towards the gate of your garden. You have enjoyed your visit and you feel relaxed and content. This good feeling will remain with you throughout the day. Push the gate open and return to the path that led you to the garden. As you make your way back up the path to the here and now, remember that you can use your imagination to return to your private garden anytime that you wish. Use your garden anytime you would like to relax, to be comforted, or to just enjoy its beauty. You are now ready to resume your day. Stretch gently and open your eyes, feeling refreshed and alert. Take a second to just be. Take a sip of your water. Breathe. Continue stretching as you need to. I'm going to take a sip of my water. Imagine that for some of you that was helpful and relaxing. For others of you, it might have been a little anxiety inducing. What did that feel like to try that out today? Nancy didn't want to come back to the room. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for Darian, it was a little more of a mixed experience of sometimes it could be relieving, sometimes it reminded her of places that maybe held memories that that brought her back to stress instead of relief. Okay.
So, like for example, I imagine like waterfalls and things, but it also takes me back to just kind of Hawaii, for example,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was sometimes brought back those bad memories,
Mm-hmm.
but then it was also bringing forward the good memories too.
Okay. Okay. So her memories brought her back to living in Hawaii, and some of maybe the bad memories that you had from that, instead of being able to focus on like just the positive memories of Hawaii and the garden, that like the pieces of Hawaii you want to bring into your garden, but some of the negative stuff from Hawaii was popping up. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Nancy?
To me, I think it would take quite a bit of practice to really be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I did it when people were in bed and broke, and then the next minute there was something about work on, and I'm like, what the heck
Mm-hmm.
else do I take? I'm not there anymore, and I have to bring myself back.
Yeah.
But it also, that also makes me feel like there's real potential there.
Mm-hmm.
And what you think it would be, if you could shut down for 5 minutes and
Mm-hmm.
do something like that. And really,
Yeah, so for Nancy, sometimes her feet were in a babbling brook, sometimes her mind went back to work. And so noticing that this is something that very much does take practice and repetition, and that knowing and realizing with that repetition, it can be really even more beneficial. And like I said before, the more times I do this, the more things I notice in my garden, the easier it is to go back there. And so, yeah, the being able to practice this allows that to happen in that 5 minutes of, okay, I'm hanging out in my garden for 5 minutes, noticing everything, and I can stay there for this period of time. Shirley didn't want to leave. You stay in it as long as you need to today. Yeah. Hopefully you listened to some of the rest of the presentation, but yeah. Oh, Shirley, I was saying, I read on the chat that it said you didn't want to leave, you're going back. That's part of why I said that right now. Okay, so very similar to visualization is progressive muscle relaxation. It's just a different way of being able to help you go to a different place in your mind, but this one very much engages your body. So whereas visualization is trying to engage your senses and help you use your senses to imagine a place in your mind, progressive muscle relaxation helps you to, I think of it as reteaching your body how to relax. So again, if we have some time at the end, I'll go back to this. That might be a nice way to end today. But it's a series of tensing and relaxing your muscles so that we know, kind of like a rubber band. If you have a fresh, new rubber band, it's going to be kind of tight and tense. And whenever you stretch it out and it comes back, it's never as tight and tense as it used to be. And so we're practicing that same thing, but with the muscles in our body. And so if I can tense my arms up really tight and I can hold that tension there, and then I release it, then I feel this tingling going through my arms. I feel my muscles looser and lighter than they were before I brought that tension into them. So there's a lot of guided muscle relaxation that you can find online. Oh goodness, I love it. Yeah, everyone go to your secret place. People won't know what on earth you're talking about. They'll be so confused. Oh, here, I'm going to admit somebody back into the room. So progressive muscle relaxation is another way to be able to combine those, to be able to have stress relief, really wherever you are, whenever you are. So if you're somebody who is caring for a spouse and they are, oh gosh, you're waiting with them in the waiting room of a doctor's office, and your stress is going up because you don't know where these people have been. Some people have their masks down below their nose. You aren't sure when the last time they cleaned this chair was. Your brain is just swirling around all of the different possibilities on top of, well, what's the doctor going to say when we actually get back to the exam room? And is my husband going to be able to withstand this, or is he going to start getting really antsy and have difficulty with just the dynamics of the appointment by itself? So in that moment when you're sitting in the waiting room, you can either go to your secret garden, or you can practice your progressive muscle relaxation. It's really, people don't know what you're doing whenever you're just tensing and relaxing your muscles to be able to help your body get to a more relaxed place so that your mind can follow. Okay. Let's see if I can make my PowerPoint work. Okay. All right, so in addition to some of these big tools that I've been talking about today, the belly breathing, visualization, progressive muscle relaxation, it's also really important that we're paying attention to the small stuff. So just like I talked about earlier, did I drink enough water today? Do I have easy snacks that I can keep on hand? I have the worst hanger of anyone that I know. If I do not, if I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, I need to eat right away, because if I go about 10 minutes too long, my temper is going to be that short. And so to be able to take care of myself and become fully present to the people that I love, just to myself, I need to keep almonds in my purse. I need to keep a granola bar next to me. I need to make sure I just got some protein, a protein smoothie kit, so that I can make sure I have my protein smoothie every morning, because I'm terrible about having breakfast. For as hangry as I get, I tend to forget to eat breakfast. And so that's a helpful way for me to know, okay, I can do this while I'm trying to get my kids to school, while I'm running to the office to be able to be there for my clients. I can just have this drink that I'm sipping off of, instead of having to sit down to a meal, having to go through a drive-through somewhere, having to eat a bowl of cereal. I can just throw my shake together or grab a pre-made shake out of the fridge and have it so that I know my mood and stress level will be better. Having your go-to person to be able to call or text for emotional support, having comfort items nearby. And so I talk about this a lot in my office. So my therapy office is made for my own comfort. It's made for other people's comfort too, but it's also made for my comfort. I have a comfortable chair that I can sit in. I have a really soft, fuzzy pillow that I keep right beside my chair, so that whenever I'm starting to get stressed, I can pull that pillow up into my lap and I can just feel the different textures and use that for some relief. I keep my favorite coffee in the kitchen, so that I'm a big coffee drinker. So that I can go and grab my coffee, use my favorite creamer in it to be able to have with me as I'm doing that. And all of these little things add up to be as ways to be able to take care of myself. Wearing comfortable clothes, taking small breaks throughout the day. As I said before, I'm the mother of 3 young children. My go-to tends to be hanging out in the bathroom for 5 minutes to be able to get away from them when I need to. Just whenever I'm starting to notice I'm moving from this green, yellow into orange of where am I today, assessing my stress, that I can say, okay, I'm orange, I'm yellow, I don't want to get to orange, because orange is when I become monster mommy, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go into the bathroom, lock the door, take a sip of my sparkling water, and scroll through my phone for 5 minutes, whether they're banging at the door or not, so that I can come back to myself, so that I can open that bathroom door again in 5 minutes and be able to be there for them without forgetting my own needs too. So how are we on time? Okay, great. What are some of the small things that each of you do to be able to take care of yourself on a day-to-day basis? You know I'm going to make Nancy and Darian answer this too.
Hi, my name's Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Hey, this has been a great talk. And the one before it too, I got into the last part. But my husband has been in the hospital a lot, and we just found out that his kidney is failing, and is he getting dialysis? And we just found that out this week. But one of the things I found helpful while I was there was I went for a walk in the hospital. It's a pretty big hospital, and there was a purpose to the end of my walk. And, I still was a little stressed trying to figure out where I was going, but I was away from those nurses coming in and giving my husband help. And I didn't have to be there for all the doctors talking to us. I just, most of the time I'm there, most of the time I'm taking notes, and most of the time I start telling my husband what to do, and he doesn't like that. So sometimes the little I know about what the doctors have said to him, the better I am. And I'll ask my husband, what did they say? Sometimes he remembers, sometimes he doesn't, but I figure we'll get it with his discharge papers.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that so much, Sherry. You're doing multiple things there. You're getting your body moving. You're getting yourself out of the four walls of that hospital room, and you're giving some husband some space to be able to still be in charge of his own care, instead of feeling like you always have to be the one in charge. You have to take over. You're letting him have that space. You're going to find the information out anyways. But you get your time, he gets his, and you both get a little bit of a break.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Animals? Yeah, having animals around, being able to just like pet your dog or pet your cat, or let them sit on your lap for a little bit. I have a friend that also has a bearded dragon, who is another therapist, and she likes to let the bearded dragon just sit on her shoulder and feels yeah, feels a lot of comfort from that. I have an aversion to creepy crawlers, and so that would not be my self-care. But I love my thing, or I'm just ruining my couch, but my thing is I love to just let my dog come sit on the couch next to me, and she puts her head in my lap while I'm doing my work, and that just feels so much better to be able to have the love and care from another being that doesn't have to be a person to depend on. I don't have to, she's an old dog. I luckily don't have to do much to take care of her. She gets to take care of me a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, soft blankets, fluffy lined jackets. I am a sucker for a soft blanket. I I have way too many of them. My mother-in-law came to my house recently, and she had made us, she made me a blanket for Christmas. And she was like, oh, I shouldn't have made you that blanket. You have more blankets than anyone I know. I said, no, I need this one too. No, no such thing as too many blankets. Okay. Well, I think the last thing, if I remember my slides correctly, the last thing that I just want to be able to emphasize is making a plan, taking it one step at a time, and giving yourself grace throughout that. And so I want you to think about, as we go through part of what I've talked about today, being able to check in with yourself, do a body scan, notice where you're feeling that stress, assess where your stress is on the scale from I'm good to I'm getting the heck out of here, and then being able to use some of these stress relief tools and self-care to be able to come down from that, to be able to help move yourself back up the scale to where you feel comfortable in your own body, in your own brain again, so that you can keep taking care of yourself and your loved one. As we're thinking about all of this, it's what is one thing that I can do differently? So can I, can I get home and, or log out of this presentation and go have 5 minutes in the other room before I get back to my loved one or before I drive back up to the hospital? Can I stop at the H2O Texas tea on my way home and get myself a big tea that is going to taste delicious and just make me feel like I'm doing something for me? What's one small thing that you can do for yourself today to be able to start this plan of decreasing your stress? So what questions, as you're thinking about that, nobody has to answer unless you really want to. What questions do you have for me about what we've talked about today, or just about caregiving through times of uncertainty? I'm going to answer one of my own questions of where to find some of the tools that I've talked about today. I'm trying to think. I can link them in the chat, or I'm probably just going to give them to Nancy and Darian to be able to send out to everyone who's been here today. So really what I do is, for the guided visualization, I just Google guided visualization script. It's very advanced. And that the one through the VA is always accessible. It's free to everyone. It's never something that you have to pay for. The Calm app, if anyone has ever heard of the Calm app, is something that you can use that has guided meditations, visualizations, and muscle relaxation on there. The Pacifica is another app that you can use that has very similar resources. I like to say, whenever it comes to guided visualizations or muscle relaxation, you've got to find the right thing for you. Sometimes, I'm going to be really frank for a second, sometimes people's voices annoy me, and I don't get relaxed whenever I listen to them. So when I'm trying to find a video for myself or an audio file for myself, I'll search it on YouTube and then go through and listen to the first 30 seconds of something. Are they talking too slow? Do they have like a pitch of voice that is a little more grating to my ears? Or is this something that I like? And so give yourself some time to explore that, and to know that the first thing that you find, the first thing that you listen to, is likely not going to be the right one for you. That it might take a little bit of searching to be able to do that. Generally on the apps, they're a little bit more pleasing. You don't have to search as hard. But if you need to be able to use YouTube or a different resource, then that can be a little bit of a process that you've got to give yourself some time with. Let's see, other questions? Yeah. What, did you have something, Nancy? Uh-huh. Okay. So if somebody is having a panic attack, or they're starting to feel one coming on, one thing I didn't put in this presentation that I probably should have is something called sense mindfulness. So I want everyone to practice this with me again. I'm going to be holding up my fingers. You don't have to hold up your fingers, but this is something that helps me. So I start naming things with my senses. So I will name 5 things right now that I can see. So I'm looking around this room. I can see the pedestal in front of me. I can see the red cushioned chair in front of me. I can see 8 round tables. I can see a black TV. I can see a paper towel dispenser. Then 4 things that I can physically feel. So I can feel the softness and thinness of my sweater. I can feel the smoothness and slickness of my dress. I can feel the softness of the serum that I put on my face this morning. And then I can feel the slight like crunchiness, bend, spring of my hair. 3 things that I can smell. So often you might not have something immediately around you. If you have candles or food, that's fantastic, but you might not. So right now, I am going to smell my sweater. It smells a little bit like roses because I put on some perfume this morning. I'm going to smell the air around me. I smell a little bit of wood in the air around of me because there's so many wooden tables in this room. And then I didn't normally have a tissue around me. Here, I found a paper towel. Even something as simple as a paper towel. I'm gonna smell this paper towel. It smells like paper. There's not much of a scent to it. It's a paper towel made, so it's a little chemically smell to it. Noticing what that smells like. 2 things that I can hear. So right now I hear the hum of the air conditioner. I heard the click of Nancy's pen falling to the table. Thing I can taste. So I'm going to take a nice slow sip of my water. Notice the coolness of the water going down my throat. Notice the just freshness of the taste of water. So that's it. It's just moving through your senses, the 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can feel. Generally, it's 3 things you can hear. I got those mixed up today, but that's fine. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. 2 things you can smell and 1 thing that you can taste. If your brain can't quite focus on that order, then I just start looking around the room and naming things. So TV, whiteboard, white sign, window. Let me count the windows in this room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm visually finding things for me to focus on that are not the racing thoughts through my mind. I'm shifting my attention from this anxious feeling building up in my body and from these racing thoughts to the things around me. Generally, that helps to mitigate a panic attack or just to help you come down from it. Y'all are going to have me talking about panic attacks for a second because panic attacks also come on a bell curve. So they can come out of nowhere or be prompted by something that happens. You start to feel the symptoms of it, and then all of a sudden you're at a 10. and then you start to come down from it. Sometimes you come down within a couple of minutes and you're feeling okay, maybe a little shaky. Sometimes that shakiness lasts the rest of the day. So the best times to be able to do this sense mindfulness or to do some belly breathing would be on either side of that bell curve. So when you're just starting to feel the symptoms, or when you know you're going into a situation that might create panic for you, doing the sense mindfulness, or once you've hit the peak, you're starting to come down from it, then allowing yourself to start doing the sense mindfulness so you can bring yourself the rest of the way down. When you're in that middle part, you just have to ride the wave and know this is a panic attack. I am okay. This will be over. It doesn't feel like it'll be over when you're in the middle of it, but being able to name it, remind yourself of those things, and then trying to do some mindfulness and breathing on either side of it can be immensely helpful in decreasing the time that it takes and then decreasing the impact on the rest of your day.
Thank you. This is Eleanor.
Hi, Eleanor.
Bought me a book called 1 Year of Mindfulness,
Okay.
but it didn't detail it as well as you did to really give me the details on how to breathe and this the sense mindfulness. You really broke it down, so I have a better idea of what I'm doing when I go through my book.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Great.
Good. What, it's 1 year of mindfulness?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for sharing that resource with us too.
It goes through a lot of the things that you talked about, but not in detail like you gave it. So that really helps me.
Well, and so that's one of the things is that we can, whenever we're reading something, we can sometimes understand it, sometimes it doesn't always make sense. But whenever we get a chance to be able to practice it with other people or practice it in person, it helps it come together so much better for us. And so continuing to come to these meetings, attending caregiver support groups, or going to see your own therapist can be really helpful in allowing all of that to come together. And then you get to use your books and your friends and your family outside of those times to keep those practices going.
One of the things we were talking about was maybe about how much they can go through emotional support. What if you don't have people like that?
So I like to, you're asking me a complex question. So there's a few different ways to answer this. Darian said, what if you don't have that one person to go to in your life? So I talked about in the previous presentation I made for, I want my water lean down really far to put it down, and I feel kind of strange about that. So in a previous presentation I made for care partners, we talked about breaking down your support system into emotional support and task support. So you might have people in your life that are really much better for task support. Like you don't want to talk to them about the stress that you're feeling because they're bad at understanding it, but they can go do a grocery run for you, or they can mow the lawn, or they can drive you or your loved one to a doctor's visit. It can be harder to know who to talk to for emotional support. And so the first answer to that is that sometimes you have different people in your life for different kinds of emotional support. And I'm going to give you an example with this. So this week I was having a bit of a crisis happen with a family member, and I needed someone to talk to, but my other friend was having a crisis in her own life. And so my friend was talking to me about her crisis, and then I had to go talk to my other friend about my crisis. And so it was one of those knowing in that moment that this friend could not hear what was going on with me because she was deep in her own stuff. And so I had to go to this other person to be able to say, hey, this is happening. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm in this red zone. I just need you to listen to me. And so one, being really explicit with whoever is your emotional support about what you need from them. So telling them, I need you to listen, or I need you to help me problem solve. Because we all know we've gone to someone and just wanted them to listen, and then they try and fix our problems, and that drives us crazy. That drives me crazy. And so being really explicit with, no, I just need you to listen about this and not try and offer any solutions. Now, if you are in a place, which some of you very much may be, where you don't, maybe you don't have any family around anymore, and you have been caregiving for years on end, and so you are very isolated from any friends that you may have had previously. And so this is where I would say it's really essential for you to get connected with a caregiver support group, or to get connected with a therapist, maybe both, so that you do have an outlet for that emotional support. And you may not be able to call somebody in that moment if you're just starting this process of rebuilding your support system, but you know, and you can remind yourself, all right, I'm losing my mind. Right now I'm gonna have to do the break thing or do belly breathing, but I have my caregiver support group at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and I know I'll be able to go and talk to them about what's going on. Or I can write this down, and if I'm in communication with anyone in the group, I can email it to them, or I can write it down so that I can be prepared for how to talk about it in my caregiver support group. And I'm afraid my computer is about to die, so I'm going to grab my charger real quick. We're not going to walk over here because it's a tripping hazard for sure. What else? Any other questions? It's all right to not have other questions. And that can be part of your self-care too, of no, I can go to a presentation, I can take it in and think about it and figure out what that means for me. And I don't have to know what that means for me right now in this moment. I would love for everyone to be able to walk away today knowing one thing that they can do differently to be able to take care of themselves, and to be able to reduce that stress in times of uncertainty. But if all you do from this presentation today is take it in and start thinking about that differently, of, okay, yeah, some of that sounded good, but I'm not sure what's going to work for me. Maybe I can figure that out. To me, that is progress. To me, you got something from this. So give yourself, just like it says on this slide right now, give yourself some grace with that it's not this perfection of, okay, she has it on the slide, so now I need to make sure I do my assessment every time. I have to scan my body. I need to do all of those coping tools and I'll be good. I don't do that every day, guys. It's okay. It's a practice where you take it one thing at a time, implement one thing at a time into your life, and start building up the tools that work best for you. Right.
I was going to ask, kind of follow up the other question I had. You talk about building a support group, or building a support system.
Yeah.
What do you think that support system is essential?
So Darian asked, if any of you couldn't hear, that I talked about building a support system. Is that something that I think is essential? Absolutely. Absolutely. No matter what that looks like, if your support system is you, your doctor, your loved one's doctor, and your support group, one, you've already started your support system. That's fantastic. If that needs to be an online group that you go to sometimes, if that's having a specific friend that you reach out to for emotional support or task support, having people or groups around you is one of the most basic needs that we have for our own survival. And so if you are somebody who's struggling with having that support system around you right now, maybe your first step is thinking about, who can I reach out to? Is there a friend that maybe we talk every once in a while, but I'd like to talk to them more, that I could just call today? Do I need to go online and try and find an online support group that maybe I can attend half of, because you don't feel like you have a whole hour, you only have 30 minutes, to be able to start building the people around you? Because again, we go back to, I feel anxiety, I'm trying to dismiss it, let it go away. The more we do that, the more it builds, the worse we feel. And so being able to have an outlet to be able to release the stress and anxiety helps our brain, helps our body, helps our relationship with the person we're caring for. With the person that we're caring for. Yeah. Well, guys, I think that that's about it for me today. If anyone needs anything, my information I know will be in whatever Nancy and Darian send out. You can always email me with additional questions, and I'll be happy to respond back and answer them. Okay. Yeah.
And the recording real quick.
Thanks for having me.